Two tropical systems out in the Atlantic, one of which has a chance to impact parts of the Caribbean and eventually even the United States. We're going to break all of that down coming right up and take a look at your rainy end of week forecast. But we're going to start right here in the tropics. Hi everyone and welcome into the channel on this hump day, September the 24th. I'm Jason. I've been tracking weather for decades, folks, and this is one of the slowest hurricane seasons to this point that I can remember, but business is picking up rapidly. We've got two areas of interest to watch, two tropical waves to keep our eye on. One of those has the potential to affect quite a few areas that are populated, and we're going to take a look at that. In the meantime, we've got Hurricane Gabrielle still out here in the Atlantic. It's still a major hurricane. It is moving to the east now, and in 5 days or so should impact Portugal or even Morocco, maybe a little bit later than that. We're going to have to see how this plays out, but it should be weakening at that time. The cone of uncertainty gets wider out in time, as you would expect. So areas over here, Portugal, Spain, Morocco, keep your eyes open for some unsettled weather as we get on out in about 5 or 7 days or so. But back closer to home, we've got two tropical waves. We're going to take a look at those on satellite in a minute. But both of these red shaded areas here are where those tropical waves have the best chance of development. This one over here, we'll call it wave 2. This is 93L officially. It has a 90% chance of development and is the better looking of the two currently. And tropical wave number 1, which is 94L, has an 80% chance of development as of 8 a.m. this morning. So that's what we're looking at, folks. We pinwheel this back over to the United States. We've got another hurricane out in the Eastern Pacific where we've seen hurricanes all summer long, and rain from Texas all the way up into Michigan and into the interior sections of the mid-Atlantic, folks. Look at this. We've got a lot, or actually Ohio Valley is a better way to say that. And then we've got some fire weather concerns and some air quality issues up into the northwest, but that's pretty much all that's going around the horn this morning in the States. But out here in the tropics, taking a look here at the satellite imagery here, you can see clearly tropical wave number 2. It's got some nice curved banding to the convection. That means there's spin, and it means it's getting a little bit better organized. Tropical wave number 1 here, wave 1, looks fairly disorganized at the moment, although there are several bursts of convection now firing. Really not much going on other than Gabrielle up here in the North Atlantic. Got a big tropical wave looking to move off of Africa, and we'll concern ourselves with it later on, but nothing else going on here. Now we're going to take a look at some model data, and I'll show you what the different models are showing here, okay? So we're going to roll this back. This is the GFS, and it's got two waves. You see both of these waves clearly. There's number 1, there's number 2. Now watch how this evolves as we go out in time. You can kind of see the precipitation footprint here. There's our frontal boundary through the U.S. And as we get on out toward Friday afternoon, you still got kind of a separation of both of these waves, but tropical wave number 2 is already developing into a hurricane. All right, we get on into Sunday, into Monday. Oh boy, tropical wave number 1, wave 1, has just gotten absorbed into the hurricane. Now we have one system on the GFS, and it swings and misses and curves and exits stage right before it does anything. And then down here in the Caribbean, the GFS kills and drags home another hurricane that hits the United States from the Gulf, like it's been doing all summer long. It's nothing if not persistent, I'll give it that. It's probably an unlikely scenario, but it is hurricane season and we have to watch it. Now, the European does something a little bit differently. We start out here. Here's number 1, you see? Number 1 right here, number 2 right there. It's already got a closed contour, so keep your eyes on those as we advance the slider along. And you can see as we get on out into Friday, into Saturday, we've already got ourselves a hurricane out of wave number 2. Wave 1 is now developing through the Bahamas. So if the European is correct, folks, around Saturday evening into Sunday in the Bahamas, you're looking at some squally weather down here, maybe even tropical storm force wind gusts as this thing continues to get its act together. And as we get on out into Monday, it rapidly develops and you start to see this. Look at this. We're going to stop it right here. Monday afternoon at 2 p.m., we have ourselves a hurricane right off of Charleston. And once again, the European is threatening the southeast. Now watch what eventually happens here. Look at this. Boom, it stops, just hits a brick wall, pivots or pinwheels around this hurricane from wave 2 that is out here moving between Bermuda and Cape Hatteras. You get a little Fujiwara effect, and then you get a little pinwheel action, and both race off to the northeast, and there you have it. Nothing else is going on out here in the Gulf. Okay, that's a scenario that's on the table. Why does that happen? Well, a couple of different reasons. You've got a ridge. You start out with a ridge out here in the Atlantic, this 594 decameter ridge right here. It blocks both of these systems, okay? So it keeps them from exiting out into the ocean and sends them on a trajectory over toward the States. Well, you've got an incoming trough here as we get on out later this week. That is what is providing all of the rain and potentially severe weather for the United States. As we advance this along into Friday and then Saturday, look where this trough is cutting off now. European has moved this farther east than it had it a couple of days ago, just like it did previously a week or so ago, just like it did before that. It wants to cut these troughs off, build a huge ridge in over top, and retrograde these things back and keep them south. Well, that's not really what happens when we come to game time, folks. This is a little bit weaker. This is a little bit weaker and a little bit farther to the north. And what that means is that there's going to be shear along the coast, but it's going to allow the system to remain a little farther east as opposed to dragging it back west. So we see that cutoff now here over, looks like it's sitting here over Boone almost, North Carolina. And then you get a little bit of ridging over the top, but eventually this trough comes in, breaks that ridging down, provides an escape route for wave number 2, which is now a hurricane. And it keeps this system from impacting the United States as that trough just picks it up and provides an escape route, and they both go out to sea, and then you get ridging building over the top again. So that is the solution that the European model is showing, and the ensemble sort of agrees with the general pattern that we're looking at. So we're going to have a complex situation to kind of deal with over the next couple of days. Now, this is the European ensemble suite showing all of the members. All of these that you see here are, or most of these are from tropical wave number 2. They develop hurricanes, a lot of pinks in here. That means it's a pretty strong hurricane, and they all curve out. Now, number 1, though, look at this. A lot of members take this close to the U.S. or into the actual, southeast coast. So we're going to watch it because there's a big signal here on the European ensemble suite for such activity to happen, such an event to happen in terms of a strike. So that's pretty impressive in terms of the amount of ensemble members that get it close to the coast. However, the GFS, doing what it did, absorbs the storm all into one system pretty much, and everything just kind of curves and goes on out to sea out of that one system. And so the GFS ensembles are not enthusiastic at all about a U.S. hit. There's the Google DeepMind. It's got quite a few more members in the approach the southeast bucket. You've got some of these that turn out, you can kind of see that, but it looks like it gets everything very strong, at least from tropical wave number 2 that eventually develops into a very strong hurricane, but it recurves. So really where the threat is from wave number 1. This is the bottom line. We have 2 waves. Wave number 1 that's closest to the coast will develop, it looks like. It may not, but it looks like it will, and I think it will, and it will develop more slowly, and it will approach the coast. Now, will it hit the coast? That's very difficult to say. My guess is that it turns out and misses us, but again, that's just a guess based on pattern recognition and what I've seen before. No guarantees in the tropics, especially this many days out. So a lot to keep our eyes on in the next couple of days. I'll keep you posted and updated here. Now, check this out. This is the European ensemble. As we go on out in time, we get on out into Thursday. Here is the pattern. This has implications for your sensible weather over the next several days here in the States, not just tropical concerns, but you've got a big ridge up here in Canada. It's going to be warm across the U.S. to end the week. Here comes our trough, unsettled weather across the south and the east, up into the Ohio Valley, another extension of that, or a low up here over the Great Lakes as well in the mid-levels. And you can see this sort of advance along as we get on into Thursday and Friday, and then it tries to cut it off. That would produce more unsettled weather for a longer period of time in the southeast with southerly flow. And as we watch this go on out through Sunday into a Monday, keep that cutoff around for a couple of days. It's going to be cloudy and unsettled across the south, and you've got another big trough working in here as we get into early next week. Big ridge up in Canada, very warm relative to normal up here across the northern tier, across much of the United States actually. Best chance for cooler than normal weathers across the south, where we've had a couple of cutoffs come through, keeping it a little cloudier and unsettled. So that's what we're looking at, folks. We're going to watch all of this as it comes together to impact how the tropical system develops and moves. A lot to look at over the next couple of days. Right now, we're going to look at your weather IQ question, then we're going to look at the rest of the forecast for the remainder of the work week. Alberta Clippers, Manitoba Maulers, and now Saskatchewan Screamers. What in the world is that? Well, I'll tell you here at the end of the show, along with the answer to the question that I'm about to ask, but the question is related to it, and here it is. Which of the following weather conditions are not typically associated with a Saskatchewan Screamer? Cold temperatures, snow, tornadoes, or gusty winds? If you know the answer, type it down in the comment section. You ought to get it if you've paid attention the last couple of days. If not, though, wait until the end of the show and I will let you know what it is. Right now, I'm going to let you know what the rest of the week holds in terms of your weather forecast. I don't know if I mentioned this in the previous segment or not, but the Google DeepMind ensemble spaghetti chart had all those lines and some of those L's from wave one kind of getting into the coast. That is the Google DeepMind AI model. It's a next generation tool and show the European AI from time to time. And those are interesting tools to have in the toolbox, but we can't take them to the bank just yet. They're still learning and we're still learning about them. So there's hopefully they'll continue to improve over time, and I think they will. But today we have all of that as just another tool, and kind of look at everything together, use our forecasting experience to put the picture together. By the way, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. This is what we do every day. Turn those notifications on, share the content with other people so we can grow the channel, give the content a like, and certainly leave a comment. If there's something I can pray about, put it in the comment section. I'll be sure and do that. In the meantime, folks, we've got a satellite image that shows lots of cloud cover all the way across basically the southern plains into the northeast United States. Look at all that cloud cover, folks. Everybody's waking up to clouds here in the center portion of the country up to the northeast, and see a couple of MCSs moving through. These are convective complexes that have held together overnight. A lot of lightning here in southern Arkansas, back into central Texas as well, with convection moving through Aberdeen, going to approach Dallas later this morning. Several areas of rain and plenty of fog out here as well. If you take a look at this too, by the way, severe thunderstorms possible in this area today, and then tomorrow severe thunderstorms possible kind of in this area as well. So watch out for that as we go through the day today and tomorrow. It's just sort of a widely scattered to scattered severe weather threat, so we're not looking at anything widespread. Air quality, bad air up here in the northwest, where we have wildfires burning, continuing to fill the air with smoke and spots. Everybody else around the country looking pretty good. Here is the surface map, and we've got a frontal boundary. As you can see, that kind of draped along here through the Ohio Valley, through the Mississippi Valley, and the southern plains. Little waves of low pressure moving along, and out ahead of it's where we're seeing the instability, warm and humid air, and a potential for heavy rain as some training will occur. And could see a couple of inches in spots here along the Cumberland Plateau, mid-Mississippi, or the Tennessee Valley, and all of that. So watch out there as we go through the course of the day. But plenty of rain in the east to be had over the next 3 days. Look at this. Maybe a couple of inches up here in New England where we need the rain. Unfortunately, northern Maine looks like you guys may not get as much rain as you want. Still dry up here, but plenty of rain back through the Ohio Valley, back through the southern tip of Texas. Could see anywhere from ½ an inch to as much as 1 inch or 2 over the next several days, and maybe even more to come for the southeast as that cutoff low kind of rotates through over the course of the weekend. If we take a look at the actual radars, we go through starting here mid-morning, we get on through the afternoon, you can see plenty of rain up here in the Great Lakes and back into portions of the mid-Atlantic, down the spine of the Appalachians, and then back into Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas. More thunderstorms breaking out with very heavy rain down here, and then that low pressure, little wave of low pressure energy coming through the Tennessee Valley will continue to provide lift and some organization for thunderstorm activity, and we'll see plenty of rainfall in this area. Also raining good up here in the mid-Atlantic through the evening hours and the nighttime hours. Plenty of rain here in the central Appalachians as well, up into the northeast. That'll hold together through the nighttime hours. Everybody else kind of tapering off. Rain out in California too, with a little system working through the little upper level low that's sitting out there. As we go through the day tomorrow, there you get more rain here in the southwest where you need it. California back into the southeast, and that back into Dixie, Florida, up into the northeast. Look at all this rain up here. You guys have needed this a long time, and it is raining. It is raining through North Carolina, and we get on into the evening hours. A lot of that will dissipate as we lose the heating of the day, and the same will happen over into the northwest, or the southwest rather, as well. And we get some rain exiting the northeast through the evening hours as we approach Friday morning, the last day of our 72-hour model run here. Start the day off with rain in the southeast, and it will continue to rain through the day on Friday into the evening hours. More rain in the southwest, more rain in the northwest, and clouds as a new system pushes in out there. And just rain continues as we wake up in the morning on Saturday. So it's going to be probably a soggy weekend here in the southeast, the way it looks right now. Temperatures over the next couple of days as well. Very chilly up here, at least relative to what I'm used to. Probably normal for you guys. In fact, it is up here in the Northeast. Feels like fall in the Great Lakes as well. Highs in the 60s today, 70s for much of the rest of the nation, with the exception of the Southeast, where we get into the 90s pretty quickly and humid. Hundreds in South Texas, hundreds in the desert Southwest, 80s in the interior Northwest and the Northern Plains. We get on into tomorrow for highs. Much the same regime, just cooling off maybe slightly in the Southeast as the trough works in, gets into Texas. We see a little bit of cooler punch behind that, warm in the desert Southwest, and maybe just a degree or two cooler in the Northwest, but that'll feel a lot different when you get into Friday, as a new system is pushing in up there, bringing some clouds, maybe a couple of spots of drizzle. Warm in the San Joaquin Valley through the middle of the country. It's going to be in the 80s and 70s for the Ohio Valley and into the Northeast. And that's your forecast to round out the rest of the week. We're going to take a quick look at what the weekend has in store and then wrap up with space weather coming right up. It's going to be a nice weekend for much of the nation, albeit a little warm. There will be many of you, though, that are dry and not encumbered by precipitation outside of portions of the east and southeast, portions of the southwest, and then maybe into the northwest. This is a 24-hour precipitation total map, 8 a.m. East Coast time on Saturday to 8 a.m. Sunday, and you can see the bulk of the rain where it's very badly needed in Virginia and North Carolina. This is the European Ensemble Suite. The GFS is similar to this, except it's a little less. This is all dependent, by the way, on the evolution of that upper low, and it is a little less vigorous with that upper low, and so the precipitation amounts are a little bit less. But Saturday looks to be kind of a washout here in parts of the southeast. You'll see afternoon showers and storms in the Four Corners region, and precipitation will push in late in the day as we go on in toward the afternoon on Saturday, and then more precipitation, more rain coming in to the northwest on Sunday. More showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon out in the desert southwest and into the Four Corners region Sunday, and then more rain and drizzle and cloud cover here along the East Coast come Sunday as well. So much needed rainfall looks to be in store for areas that badly need it, and what happens with the evolution of wave one could impact these totals quite a bit as we get on in toward Monday and Tuesday. Temperatures as we go through Saturday look to be the highest relative to normal along the northern tier and the East Coast, and the lowest relative to normal in the desert Southwest, pushing into the West Coast as we go through Sunday and getting into the South Central Plains. You look a little bit either side of normal out here, but everybody else looks to be pretty much above normal as we go through the weekend. And then 6 to 10 day, folks. This takes us through the first part of October, the September the 29th through October the 3rd, much above normal for most of the nation, particularly where there's the highest ridging values up here in the northern tier across Canada, below for Alaska and above for Hawaii. Precipitation during this time frame, not very much rain should fall here in the center of the country up to the northeast, but could see a little bit more rainfall than normal here in the southwest. And of course, as that big trough works into the west coast, that ups the chances for rain out here near normal in Alaska and normal to below in Hawaii. And that's it for the weekend. Now we're going to wrap up with space weather and get the answer for that weather IQ question. Space weather, quiet as a mouse. Earthquakes, quiet as a mouse. Pretty much, and volcanoes, nothing going on that will affect us anytime soon. There are your sunspots that are turning toward us. We've got one here, 4225 now, that is changing in complexity. It looks like it's growing a bit. Nothing coming out of it right now in terms of solar flaring activity, but we're going to watch that. That could change over the coming days as it rotates toward us and continues to evolve. Earthquakes, nothing much going on out here. We had a couple here. There's one. Where's this at? This is Western Texas, 2.4, and this one up here in Oklahoma is a 2.2. You guys doing some fracking out there or what? But nothing else really going on out here. One in Hawaii, probably associated with Kilauea. And there is the moon, folks. 6.8% waxing crescent, going to a harvest moon, full moon on October the 6th. And if we take a look here at our daylight hours, we have moved past the autumnal equinox, so the rate of daylight loss on the front and back end is starting to slow now, and it will continue to slow until we get into the winter solstice in December, and there is your time change early November. So just be on alert for that, folks. And then that is, I think, all the things that I wanted to show you today from a weather standpoint. So that leaves us with the answer to today's IQ question, and the question was, which of the following conditions, weather conditions, are not typically associated with a Saskatchewan screamer? Cold temps, snow, tornadoes, gusty winds. The answer, of course, is C, tornadoes. Don't usually get tornadoes with wintertime fast-moving low-pressure systems coming out of Canada, which is what a Saskatchewan screamer is. Like the Alberta Clipper and the Manitoba Mauler, this one originates in the province of Saskatchewan, rotates down quickly in the flow and moves across usually the northern tier of the U.S., bringing colder temperatures, gusty winds, and snowfall along its path. And that is it for the weather. One more thing that I thought was interesting today. This happened back in 1869. Jay Gould and Jim Fisk attempted to corner the gold market. That was bad. That led to a dramatic price crash and widespread economic turmoil after the U.S. government released gold to break up their schemes. So Ulysses S. Grant had to release gold from the gold reserves because they were trying to corner the market and manipulate the price. And unfortunately, that led to about, I think, a 20% stock market crash as well. So manipulation always ends badly. Remember that, folks. All right, that's your lesson for today. That's the weather for today. Got a lot to watch out in the tropics. I'll be watching the models as they come in later today. And if anything changes appreciably, I'll be posting it on X at Real Cold Rain. Have another update in the morning. So anyway, hope you have a wonderful afternoon. Stay dry, stay safe, and take care. We'll see you back tomorrow.